So I did a little experiment, basically testing to see whether I found it easier in terms of like performance and everything to play Rocket League with the worst settings versus the highest settings. Now, at first, it might seem obvious, you know, playing Rocket League would be better with the highest settings. But if you watch like a lot of pros play, a lot of them play on very low settings, like performance level settings. And I as well play on pretty low settings. I do like leaving it somewhat high because I kind of just find Rocket League really pretty when I play with a little bit higher settings. And I really find it amazing with the highest settings, but like it definitely plays worse with higher settings. Not only like on your computer, like things will often feel a little bit slower, but there's various things like the lens flare and just like unnecessary detail in the background that makes it feel slower and often not run as well. Now on the low end, when you get to like the really low settings, obviously your visibility isn't as good, things get pixelated. And so I wanted to check and just see which was worse because both aren't ideal. The best settings are kind of low medium settings, I think a lot of people would say. So I started with like taking my resolution all the way down to the lowest I could and just basically played a ranked game with the absolute lowest settings that you can have. And obviously this was really difficult. There were parts where like I couldn't really see anything and it was actually kind of hurting my eyes, especially when the ball was far away from me and everything I was trying to like concentrate on was like in the distance. Then it all just kind of became a jumbled mess and I couldn't predict like really hardly anything. So I did that first and I actually played okay on the absolute lowest settings. I scored a couple goals, but I lost my game. And then I went ahead and just jumped right over and played a ranked game on the absolute highest settings with everything, lens flares, all those things. And I lost that game as well, but it was definitely easier. So then I decided to make the experiment a little more reasonable because most people wouldn't lower the resolution all the way down to the lowest. And a lot of you guys, like you're playing on just the lowest settings you can. For a while I had like an old laptop when I was playing Rocket League and that's what I did. I had to have everything on like high performance. And so that's what I wanted to check and that's kind of what I did in this video. So I played another game on just the lowest settings with normal resolution. And yeah, here's kind of what it looks like side by side. I think that my conclusion would be that it's still better probably to play on the highest settings, but it was definitely closer. Again, the only thing is just not being able to see things in the distance. When the ball's close to me, when the action is close to me, I feel like I actually like high performance better in some ways, just because I really do feel slower with the highest settings. But, you know, on the high performance settings, when the ball gets far away, it does get pixelated, and especially the cars. Like if you're trying to read what your opponents are doing and they're across the field, you can't really see them hardly at all. So it's pretty close, honestly. If I were doomed, like cursed to play with one or the other, I think I would pick the highest settings, but not by much. There is just that level of detail in the field and with the ball, and it's really just more random when it really gets frustrating. Like it does feel slower to me, but I think in some ways that's just mental. The biggest thing is just the random like lens flares and stuff like that, where you really just kind of get blinded. And I don't know, it's almost more distracting. But on high performance, there's just a lot of situations where you're not seeing things as clearly as you could if you had higher settings. So this was kind of a fun one to do. I enjoyed this. It's worth trying out. Like it's worth putting your settings, you know, on different things and seeing what you like and seeing what you find enjoyable. But for me personally, I do like somewhat higher settings, but it did get me thinking about maybe lowering them because I did used to play like this and it kind of simplifies Rocket League. It really just narrows everything down to just you and the ball and the pitch and everybody you're playing with and against. It's just really simple because there's nothing pretty to look at. There's nothing outside of the map that's like at all distracting. It kind of feels like an older video game almost. So that's kind of what I found. I think I like it probably better on highest settings, but it's really close for me. So give this a try. I know a lot of your guys' computers can't necessarily play Rocket League on the highest settings, but if they can, give it a try, see what you guys think, and let me know in the comments below which you found easier or what you find better. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace out.